Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining vFairs Epic Events podcast. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome a true trailblazer in the events industry, Tamar Beck, CEO of Gleanin. With over 15 years of experience across event planning, corporate, and live events, Tamar has built an impressive career from ground up. Tamar brings a unique blend of strategic leadership, operational savvy, and a deep passion for human connection, the heart of any successful event. Tamar, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for asking.
Tamar, just walk us what gets you into the event industry. How did you come and join the events industry in general?
By accident, which I think is how a lot of people end up here. I worked in a publishing company when I was very young, actually for Elsevier at the time, scientific publisher, and that's kind of where I first started knowing a little bit about events, but I wasn't in events. I was on magazines. And then a friend of mine moved to Reed Exhibitions and was like, please, you should come over. So I took a job at Reed Exhibitions and didn't know what a trade show was before then, but loved it and knew that, this was it for me. So I loved the job. And I was there for 15 years. Over the 15 years, life kind of moves on, and I was determined. Like I really had started to get a bit, I think, jaded. You work really hard on trade shows. I had children in the last kind of 5 years as well. So, but it's a lot. And and so it was. I left Reed Exhibitions and I decided I was going to freelance in the events world. So just try to find really exciting projects and events to work on. And I met two techies who are my co-founders, and they wanted someone from the trade show business to look at what they were building. And I was like, this is so not going to be for me because I'm not a techie person. And look where we are today. So we decided to launch this business together, and it's been amazing.
Tell us about that business, Gleanin. I know that it has evolved a lot over the last several years. So tell us what was the first version of Gleanin and what it is right now.
So the very first version of Gleanin was a Twitter monitoring tool for events. So the two guys, AJ and Peter, who I originally met, they were building a tool that was monitoring the sentiment about events. But at the time they were like looking at really sexy kind of world events, social uprisings, and all the kinds of things that were happening in 2011 at that time all around the world. They happened to switch on during World Travel Market. And they were like, what is all this conversation around this trade show? Didn't really know much about trade shows, obviously, because unless you're in them, I don't think you really know. And there was all these people, thousands of people talking about this event that they were all going to. They noticed that the organizer was not engaging at all in those conversations, but everyone around it was, and they felt that there was something in that. So that's where I came in, and they showed me what they built, and I knew the moment that I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, I would pay for this, because me and my team, we worked in IT events as well. We were really struggling to get support internally in the organizer side to do this. It was all like, this is never going to go anywhere. Social media is like just a trend. It'll be nothing. So we were really struggling with keeping up with what our own customers were doing at the time. And so as soon as I saw it, I was like, I would have found money for this from my budget. I might not have told anybody that I'd found money for it in my budget, but I would have found it because it was amazing. So that's what we started with. I knew a lot of people in the UK trade show business. We happen to have quite a lot of trade show organisers here. They loved it as well. And that's how we started. And we concentrated on our kind of home market, which happens, we're very lucky, like Reed Exhibitions and Informa and all of those big companies are here. And over time, they took us into regions. but after a few years, we knew that getting adoption just required so much education of the marketers, and I am not sure they didn't just want to buy something that would just fix it all for them without doing anything. And that felt like, from a tech point of view, we would have to have a lot of people. We'd have to provide service and all of that kind of stuff. And that didn't seem like the place we wanted to be. So we had spotted something around registration where we felt that the reason people go to events is because they want to meet people that they know, and that there was something in showing people who they knew already registered for the event. So we kind of pivoted to that, and we built a tool that just tapped into LinkedIn networks and showed people all of that. But that we launched that, and that went really well. But then LinkedIn just, on a whim, just changed API access, literally at the drop of a button, drop of a pen. And whilst in the end the API didn't get taken away from us, I can remember a few days of like, okay, we have too much risk on this kind of one connection, and if we're going to build a sustainable business, we have to think about how we're going to do this. And being dependent on always having access to LinkedIn data is in my opinion, I think even now, not a safe place to be, because we don't have control over that, and we're a tiny little business, so we learned some lessons. Even though we didn't lose the API access, we decided to rebuild again to take away that dependence. Mm-hmm. That was where we got most of our growth, and then COVID happened.
Ouch.
So COVID happened. We were going real nice. We were in profit. We'd had these pivots. We've always had a desire to build a sustainable, profitable business. So we do have some early investors, but we've never gone for a big series of investment. We want control of what we do and to do the things we believe in. So, but obviously that was a scary time, but we had money in the bank, and it was like, I can remember a few times over, the early days, thinking, we were having these conversations about, like, do we just stop and wait to see what happens, or do we just go for it? I mean, we're never ever going to get an opportunity where we can just stop what we're doing and completely rethink everything again, and that's what we did. So we gave ourselves some limitations, because they're always really good. So again, we don't want to have to rely on being integrated with registration forms, even, because we could see with COVID all the new, I think that's where I first came across you, actually, is like the virtual events. This world is going to probably change forever if we have to be integrated with, another 1,000 platforms in order for our product to work. That is going to be a major limitation to us coming back. So we removed the requirement for integration. So that data flow, we wanted to remove the requirement to access data. We wanted to build this SaaS platform that we'd always had ambition for. So to remove that individual contracting nightmare that, I don't know whether you guys have it, but it was the bane of my life. And we've actually chosen not to do enterprise deals, to be pure SaaS. And we started to think about all the other stakeholders involved in the event, like speakers and exhibitors. So we were limited before COVID. We only focused on attendee sharing, and actually so for the build and the prototypes that we were building during COVID, we went in on speakers, and that's what we tested with our clients. We actually built it with customers, because all the event marketers were sat there panicking in the same way that we were. It's so we managed to get a lot of time, and we went back and forward iterating on ideas. We spoke to speakers, we tried to really understand them. It was really fun. I mean, I wish I'd known it was going to work out, because at the time we didn't, but it was really fun to rebuild and do that. So yeah, that's how we got to here.
Perfect. And again, you would know it far better than me, but having speakers promote your event, nothing like that, because in the end, they have the brand, they have the audience, and, as an event organizer, you want to tap into the audience of people, who
Yeah.
can bring in more. So what's working out best right now? Is it the speaker piece of it? Is it the exhibitor piece of it, attendee piece of it?
It's just everything. I think having the option to plug advocacy into all your groups of participants is really key. And I think we were really limited before in that any event, if you look at the sheer numbers of attendees, there's always going to, but most of the time, there's a lot more attendees than there is speakers. So if you look at the volume, and even just focusing on attendees, you're still going to have a huge network effect. But like you say, speakers have outsized impact. But why not plug it into everything? If you believe in word of mouth, the ability to be able to plug in advocacy, make that super easy for whoever those groups of people are, recognizing that some people are going to have, more engaged followings than others, but that's true of everyone. Even a single attendee can bring in, if they've got an engaged network, they can bring in some really great attendees too. So it's a bit of everything, really.
Yeah. And I would say in today's world, marketing an event is the hardest job. Again, everyone I've spoken to, they're all worried about registrations, registration count, late registrations. So what are you seeing out there? Just what's working out best for event organizers in order to, just get this word of mouth effect and get people sign up for their event?
But I think the thing with word of mouth, it's not new. It's something that we all do in our lives. We trust people that we know. I just think that, and I think that's always been the case, and that's always gone on around events. But I think in this world, maybe since I'm just trying to think, like, how long has it been going on? But the world is just full of marketing. It's full of spam. It's full of sales messages. It's full of things that we don't trust as much.
Yeah.
And that goes the same for anything that you buy, any decision that you make, but obviously it also counts for events. Events are such a huge investment, even as an attendee, your time. I think since COVID is more precious, lots of us working from home and working in different ways. So those decisions, it takes a lot to make it. And I think that people just trust people that they know. So the more that you can get those people, those real humans, participants, talking to each other about your event and recommending it to others that they know, and just telling people that they're going to be there, just gives that social proof, because an email from a brand is just not going to, of course a brand's going to say, I'm the best event in this sector. I mean, why would they not? So with AI, the proliferation of AI, all of that has just hit, like email has become, it's changed. I'm trying to think of the word. I think it's changed forever since the onslaught of AI. The amount of spam in people's inboxes, it's forcing people to find inventive ways to keep that out, which means that most marketing emails are going to be kept out of those inboxes as well. Like, how do you reach the person? And there's nothing better than using that trust that they already have.
100%. And again, see, coming from the tech industry, we make use of these AI tools to, create these outbound emails to, auto dial 100 people at the same time so that one of them would pick. And the reality is, the more technology is becoming smarter, the more each one of us are just becoming immune to all the emails and cold calls we all are getting. So, I just see it from the flip side. Do I pick up any calls that I don't know of? I've stopped picking up all of those calls, right? So, again, I have always been someone who used to have 0 unread emails, just because, by being a CEO, you want that. But now it's becoming impossible, just because, you get hundreds of emails every single day, and the job is just to find the relevant email from those 100 emails, right? So that has actually become the job. in most cases. So I agree. I think this word of mouth is the only thing in most cases that would work out.
It's certainly the only thing that cuts through. I think, just from marketing your own business, marketing an event is no different. The same for us. We've just chosen not to do outbound, and our whole focus is on how do we get advocacy working for us? What is our distribution network? And it has to be with the customers that we've got. If we can keep those customers happy, they tell others about it. And, and I'm not saying that just because we happen to be in that, but it's almost like we are now having to live how we talk about events because nothing else works.
Exactly, 100%. And again, I typically say that, like, even though I think we are in the technology, space, like we're more like in the hospitality space. We have to take care of our customers so well that they, not only they like us, they use us again, but they become the advocates and they kind of tell other people.
Yeah.
Mark, just quick questions. Again, a lot of people, when I'm giving these podcasts, they ask me this question, and my response is always that they're like, which use case you serve the most? Is it conference, trade shows, job fairs, open days, etc.? And the reality is platform works for all. But still, I see my numbers and I see that it's the conference, trade shows that brings the most amount of, let's say, customers and revenue. What's true for you? Because that you come from trade show, then you have the SaaS software that just by looking at it looks like everyone should use it. But still, like, what are the use cases where you see most of your customers benefiting from the most from Gleanin?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we see it across all, and I think now we are a subscription platform. We have been able to more quickly adopt the different types of customers, because where we started was trade shows like where I worked, because that's what I knew. I understood how they work inside. I knew what the budget levels were, the sign off, I knew what the need was, all of that kind of stuff. And when we started to then build out into like associations and things, we were hitting a few, we just assumed they would all be the same, and they are just not the same. And luckily for us, because we didn't have massive investments, we didn't go and set up American offices and stuff. We just went slow and we learned as we went and iterated. Whereas with this platform, the SaaS nature of it, it means we've been able to, we've got, with a subscription, you get, unlimited events, for instance, which people are like, what? Unlimited? Because they're so used to the per event structure, which is how we used to sell as well. It's like, how big's your event? How many events do you want it for? That kind of scale. Whereas with the subscription, we were very nervous about doing it because we had these big contracts with big organizers who are, but it's really worked out because we've now got a price point that means a conference organizer who could still have hundreds of events, but each of them are smaller than, a giant trade show. The amount that they spend per event is less. And so we've been able to even out that thing. We've also corporate events, have come to find us. Again, that's mostly through advocacy. Once you get one and it's seen and all of that kind of stuff, it happens. But trade shows is where we started. So it was all we knew. And now by changing a few little things like that, every event, if it's got speakers and it's got attendees, then it can be used. I'd say there's probably a minimum size, because why would you pay, our cheapest subscription is about £370 a month. That we do have some people come in, oh, that's just too expensive. I'm like, well, it's cool. It's just not, we never discount, we don't do deals. We have to sometimes say, it's not the right tool for you, but that's fine. But yeah, people, that's what we found really. So across everything, B2B, we're very focused on B2B. So I would say business events, but we've got a few consumer, but it's not something that we're trying to get into.
So across industries, I'm also assuming across geographies as well. So
yes.
Even in London, I'm assuming that the platform is equally, known in North America, UK, Europe,
Yeah.
APAC.
Exactly. And we because the big trade show companies where we started and they have headquarters here, we still have a lot of business from them here, but the US is probably is our biggest market, and it is where our biggest opportunity is. But informers and the Read exhibitions and the big corporates and conference companies run, we work with The Economist, for instance. They have conferences all around the world, but my contacts are here, but the events are global. So yeah, it's a hard one. I'd say the US is our big opportunity at the moment. We have a lot of association events over there.
And Tamar, a lot of again, event tech platforms like us, of course, we don't, we provide the technology, but not so much on the marketing piece. Who are your biggest partners or integration partners? Because I'm assuming that what you provide is very much complementary to a lot of other business within the same industry. So,
Yeah.
are there some certain partners with whom you have worked a lot?
Yeah, so unlike before on the old platform, we don't require integrations with anyone. Luckily, you can purchase the platform and not use integration, and it will still be cool. But the integrations that we do have are for the purpose of speeding up the event marketer's job, and primarily we will integrate with anyone that our customers use where they might store their speaker data or their exhibitor data. So for instance, if we've got an integration with let's say Session Board or Lineup Ninja here in the UK, they are specialist platforms for speaker management platforms, we call them, or we've got integration with event management platforms. Anywhere where our marketers are, where speaker data is captured, Session Board and Lineup Ninja will actually manage all those programs. The speakers are logging in there and putting their headshots in and doing call for papers, and the conference producer is managing all of that inside that platform. So we have an integration there because instead of having to upload spreadsheets, the marketer just connects the two platforms, and the speaker data comes into Gleanin, assets are created, and a social share tool is pushed back into those platforms so that the speaker can access it in the place where they would want to, and the marketer can also run their email campaigns from those places. So it's time saving, and accuracy is good with the integrations, but it's not essential.
Yeah. I always say that, see, we do virtual events, in-person events. And again, with this whole AI thing, people say, how it's going to impact your business. And I always say that with more and more AI, events are becoming even more important because that's the most human thing that one can, have. Exactly. Tell me, how does AI have any impact in what you do? Is it helping you guys in any way? Or word of mouth, by the very nature of it, is a lot more human thing than the AI thing. So
yes. So I mean, I don't. It's not helping our customers with word of mouth right now. I actually had a customer advisory board yesterday, and we were talking about this. I think very soon we're going to see it come in, and really, I think there are great opportunities around it. I think what it's going to be very useful for is personalization. You're seeing people already do that with email, some bad, some good, but if it will get better, I've got no doubt. And if you can deliver people really personalized communication, is likely to get better engagement. And that is the same when it comes to word of mouth. So if you think about what our customers are doing, quite a lot of it can seem quite generic. But imagine if you can really personalize the content that you give someone to share.
Amazing.
So I think it will be, I think it's going to have a big impact. Internally, we are in experimentation mode this year. So in fact, it's our major OKRs, like how are we, what are we doing here? How are we going to use it to help ourselves be quicker, more innovative, experiment? In fact, we can build prototypes in, compared to how long it used to take. All of that stuff is really exciting. So I think there are, I'm not sure what we're going to hit on, but we are playing is the main thing, right?
We're all trying to see
Yes.
which one works. And again, I think we're all trying tools internally as well, just to make
Yes,
ourselves
exactly. Like, coding and all the rest of it.
Cursor and yeah.
Of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're using it for our own marketing, so are our customers. So, it's a time of experimentation. You have to get your hands on it, all of us.
Tamar, given that you come from trade show industry, I just have a few questions purely from events that you have attended, right? So again, we go to a trade show. One of the big things that we see are swags from all of these exhibitors. Are you a fan of swags? Do you think swags should go away? Like, what's your advice on people who invest or who want to, I don't know, like they're taking swags with them on these exhibitions? Just your take on that.
Well, I mean, I've actually just come off another webinar where people were talking about US events and the challenges there are going to be that are in running US events with the tariffs and things.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to force quite a change because a lot of the swag is coming from China and different locations. So already the impact of that, I could hear the conversations that's already happening. For me, unless it's memorable, is it like, what's the purpose of having it? And I think quite a lot of people don't put any intention behind it. I'm saying that we're running our own event next week, and our swag is a branded chocolate bar. So we have swag. Yeah. Some of it is about rewarding people. So it's not like it's not a free gift, but it's rewarding people for things. And you just want to, it's a thank you really for, things we've asked people to do. So I think it can work. I just think you have to be real clear about what your intention is. In my mind, I'd be very happy going to an event with no swag at all. It wouldn't be top of my list, but if I thought of a really great way to connect it to what we were doing and something memorable, I would consider it. But yeah,
I like branded chocolate. I've never seen that before. So
yeah, it's Tony's chocolate.
Nice. No?
You can,
we all love chocolates, and again, we all pick up those Kit Kats and M&Ms, etc. But having a branded chocolate does out.
Yeah.
Perfect. Your take on that, again, you attend a lot of events, I'm sure, from the industry. Like, which are your favorite events that you have attended? So, like, or you would like to attend typically in a year?
So I think probably obviously the events people are, the places where we go and we see everybody. So I think probably IMEX is my what. Having said that, I can't say that I've been, since COVID, my habits have changed. I used to go to loads of events in the US, and our habits have changed massively. We've been building this new platform back up, and we're now in this experimentation phase. So our habits change. I'm actually more choosy about what I go to. And IMEX is one that I'll always make time for. I've only been a couple of years. That's the first time I went. I love just the fact you feel like you're at something that is really special. People really feel like they belong to it. I wouldn't say I necessarily do, because I am a supplier and an attendee, not an exhibitor. I don't fit into any category. But for me, I have to put a lot of effort into it, but it's everyone's there. I love just feeling the energy from it, like the feeling of belonging to that event. They've got a really great brand. And I like going to events just from that point of view, like, because I used to organize events. I like what makes me feel like that. So I like that. But we've also been organizing our own events. Smaller, intimate events. I really love those, because the main reason for me to go to an event is to meet people. I honestly am not there to hear the speakers. I'm not there to see exhibitors, except my suppliers, my friends. I go and say hello. For me, it's about I don't like to call it networking. It's about meeting people that I haven't seen all year, spending time with them. And out of those people, you will meet new people that are connected to them. Again, that it's like a physical word of mouth where you get the introductions from people that you know, and you go, okay, well, that person's with that person, they must be a good person. And your network kind of grows like that. And that's the way I prefer to do things.
Tell me a bit more about Activate. I saw that on your website also. I saw that on Chocolate now also. Tell me a bit more on that one.
So Activate. So again, I told you we don't do outbound marketing. So trying to think about how do we deliver value to event marketers outside of our customers without asking anybody to do anything for us in return. How can we serve these groups of people? So Activate was something our CMO came up with. It's and I was like, honestly, if it was up to me, I was scared that this format would not work. I've only run physical events before for a start, but it's a 1 hour event. We have anywhere between 12 and 16 speakers during the hour, 4 tracks. No talk is longer than 10 minutes. Practical, actionable sessions, so we won't have anybody pitching. You have to give people tips that they can use in their jobs tomorrow. And we launched that. We're on our 5th edition now, and that has just gone strength to strength. Again, we don't gate any content. We don't collect any details apart from an email address so that we can deliver the link to log in. We don't ask any details about who they work for or anything like that. We are trying to just grow this community of people that at some point or another they will feel an affinity with us, and building that trust and trying to deliver value. So we don't even talk at our own event, but that's what we do. We have around 1,200 marketers. We got to almost 600 on the first event, and it's next Wednesday, and we're already hit over 700 today for this next one. The last event was just under 1,200. So I'm honestly I'm gobsmacked, and I'm so glad that I didn't mess with what our marketing person said. We just let him go. It was his thing, and the branding. He cares so much about the kind of experience, and he manages to get these amazing headliners. So we've had Seth Godin, Rand Fishkin,
Wow, again,
our last one.
Wow.
Rand Fishkin, if you're in tech, you might know Rand Fishkin, who he did a 5-minute whiteboard for us. We've got Mark Ritson, who's a really famous marketer. He's headlining this one, but everything's very short. And then after the event, anyone can come in and just view if you have a cup of tea, you can just sit and watch something like, I need some inspiration for, email marketing or whatever it might be. Because event marketers don't have any time. So the 1 hour format
they don't have any time, and they're just so much on LinkedIn and everywhere else that you think that, you don't need to go to a specific place to learn. But I love it. 1 hour, so much of great from all of these.
The feedback's been fantastic. In fact, the only feedback is like, can we have it just 15 minutes longer? And we're like, no, the format, we seem to have hit on something with this format. So we've launched a podcast now that every month we release a couple of interviews with event marketers, because I think event marketers like to hear from other event marketers. They don't want to hear from us. They want to hear from each other about what works, what you've learned, what doesn't, all of that kind of stuff.
And Tamar, I'm assuming that all of your team is remote, right? So how is it to run a remote company? Is it easy? Is it hard? Give one tip, because most of us now are managing companies in a remote manner.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to say we're great at it. But I don't think it has its challenges. We're only 13 people. So I mean, honestly, I have an ambition to never grow any more people than absolutely necessary, because I don't want to get into people management role again. If we can keep small and lean, we'll be very happy. We trust. I mean, the main thing is you've got to have employees, people that want to work for you and that you can trust. And I think with things like with AI tools now, the autonomy that, I can suddenly do things where I'm not having to say to our marketing team, can you do this for me? Can you create this? You know, do it. You can do it yourself. So
Yep.
I'm loving the fact that we can all get a bit more autonomous and we can all work on things ourselves. And but you know, it's hard. It's hard to keep that communication going, and you sometimes realize, you know, you have to. You can realize you've not communicated something effectively. But I think the main thing is letting your people know that you come from a good place.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
as long as you're authentic and real and honest and transparent, they will forgive you for
Yeah.
the mistakes we make. And of course, we make mistakes. We're a 4-day-a-week company as well. So we, after COVID, we went down to 4 days. That helps keep everybody happy. And we meet up once a month in London in person. So even though we all work at home, we have to be able to get to the London meeting. So we just have lunch together and we work on experiments and fun things together. And that's just good for, and we have an annual retreat as well.
Amazing. I love that. And yeah, no, I feel a lot of what you say, which is again, you know, I think people who have worked with you for a long time, you know, they get to see, they know where you're coming from. But I think if someone is new, trying to onboard them and trying to let them know that, you know, you really want the best for them as well as for the company. I think that takes a bit of that initial, you know, kind of.
You're just building that trust up, aren't you? That you, and especially you probably have this as well. But when we recruit new people, and if they're really young and they're speaking to the CEO and they're like, oh, you know, it takes a long time to just make sure people know you are just a human, and we know a lot about the business because we started it, but we really want to hear what you've got to think. Like when we get new people in, it's a great opportunity to have really fresh eyes on us because we've been doing this for so long. You sometimes need someone to say, you know, why does that happen? And but you want people not to be scared of telling you. So it's just like, you know, we have to try and create that atmosphere where people can say what they think.
We all want the best for the company and the customer, and you know, anyone can correct us, you know, if it's an intern, right?
Yeah, customer first. I think that's the main thing is we have to over everything, customer and our team members. Customer, top priority.
Tamar, I have learned a lot from you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. All the best for Activate. And again, it looks, I just went to the website. It looks amazing, you know, and I have absolutely no doubt that, you know, the next week is going to be a great one. And again, you're up for something really, really good. How can people learn more about you, about Gleanin? Where can they find you? What's, you know,
well, you find me on LinkedIn. So I'm quite active on LinkedIn. Come and connect with me and I'll connect with you. But if you want to learn more about us, just go to the website. Because we're a SaaS product, you can try everything without talking to sales because we don't have sales. We will give you a demo if you really want one, but you can go through the whole process by yourself without, and we promise we won't chase you aggressively afterwards, or just come and check out Activate. You'll get there through the website as well. So yeah, that's how you'll find us.
Thank you so much, Tamar. Thank you everyone for listening in. And again, go to Apple or you know, Google. You can download you know, the Epic Events podcast. Thank you so much, Tamar, for listening in and for joining us. Thank you.